The Young and the Restless spoilers a shattered legacy since the fateful day when Chloe revealed the explosive secret about the DNA of Connor and Adam. The once calm household was thrown into turmoil. Rumors and whispered suspicions had always simmered beneath the surface of their family's seemingly ordinary life, but nothing could have prepared them for the tidal wave of questions that Chloe's revelation unleashed. With her voice ringing out in an angry crescendo, Chloe declared that the truth about their lineage was far more disturbing than anyone could have imagined. Now, the family was left scrambling to piece together the fragments of their shattered legacy. Adam, who had always clung to the hope that the rumors were mere fabrications, found himself drowning in a sea of doubt. The man who had taken Connor into his heart as his own now wrestled with a painful possibility, that Connor might not be his biological son after all. This possibility gnawed at him day and night. Every shared smile, every heartfelt conversation, was now tainted by the bitter question of authenticity. In his soul, Adam desperately wished that these suspicions were false, that he could cling to the comforting illusion of unbreakable bonds. Yet, Chloe's words had ignited a spark of relentless curiosity, a drive to unearth the truth, no matter how painful it might be. Amidst this storm of uncertainty, Chelsea emerged as a voice of clinical detachment. Ever the analyzer, she examined every detail with the precision of a seasoned detective. Without hesitation, Chelsea reaffirmed what many had feared: the evidence pointed in one direction. According to her thorough analysis, Adam was indeed the father of Connor. But her insistence did little to quell the burning questions that now haunted their family. Instead, her declarations only deepened the rift between those who clung to hope and those who demanded an uncompromising look at the facts. The tension reached its peak one chaotic afternoon when Chelsea and Chloe's simmering anger boiled over. In the confines of a crowded living room, where shattered trust and betrayal mingled with old family memories, the two women clashed in a furious battle of words, and eventually fists. Their argument, fierce and uncontrolled, served as a symbol of the broader conflict that now threatened to dismantle the very foundation of their family. Onlookers could only stand by in despair as the two once close allies, now bitter enemies, tore into each other with a force that seemed to match the intensity of the secret itself. Yet, as the physical struggle between Chelsea and Chloe drew gasps from onlookers, a more insidious question lingered in the air: was Chloe deliberately trying to destroy Connor's life? Why had she chosen this moment, a time when the family was already reeling from so many revelations, to unveil a secret so damning and so loaded with potential for chaos? Even though the veracity of her claims had yet to be independently confirmed, one could not ignore the deliberate nature of her actions. It was as if she had a calculated purpose behind the revelation, an agenda that extended far beyond a simple desire for truth. Those who knew her well recalled that Chloe had always been a force of disruption, a woman whose turbulent emotions and unstable nature made her prone to acts of jealousy and sabotage. Adam, in the midst of this emotional maelstrom, was haunted by another realization. He knew all too well that Chloe was no ordinary person. Her behavior was erratic, her motives murky. She was driven by an insatiable envy, a bitter resentment towards the happiness and stability enjoyed by those around her. It was this envy, Adam believed, that had fueled her decision to reveal the DNA secret. For Chloe, the happiness of others was an affront, a constant reminder of what she could never have. In her eyes, exposing such deeply personal truths was a way to level the playing field, to invade and ultimately dismantle the lives of those who seemed blessed with fortune and love. Despite the chaos, one thing was abundantly clear to Adam: the truth needed to be laid bare. He could no longer allow the swirling suspicions and half-truths to dictate the course of their lives. With determination stealing his resolve, he confronted Chloe, demanding answers in a voice that trembled with both anger and desperation. "Chloe," he began, his eyes searching hers for even a glimmer of sincerity, "explain yourself. Why would you reveal something so personal? What truth do you claim to know? And why do you insist that Connor is not my son?" Chloe's gaze, wild and unpredictable as ever, flickered with a mixture of defiance and remorse. It was in that moment that her true agenda began to crystallize. There was an unmistakable edge to her words, a dangerous blend of vindication and scorn. Adam, she replied, her voice low yet piercing, I'm not here to hurt you, nor am I here to destroy Connor's life. I'm here because the truth cannot be buried forever. For too long, you have lived in denial, clinging to a fabricated illusion of family unity. I was once like you, blinded by the facade of happiness until I realized that the truth is the only path to real freedom. Her words sent a chill down Adam's spine. It wasn't simply that she was revealing a secret, it was the underlying intent that disturbed him. Chloe's motivations were far from pure. While her delivery was laced with the rhetoric of emancipation, Adam recognized a more sinister undertone, a desire to undermine the very foundation of the family's unity, to shatter the delicate bonds that held them together. She was a woman driven by envy and resentment, determined to invade the sanctity of another's happiness. But even as Chloe's confession poured forth, questions multiplied rather than dwindled. How did she come to know that Connor was not Adam's biological son? Was there any tangible evidence behind her words, or was this another one of her schemes designed to destabilize the family further? The truth lay hidden behind layers of deception, waiting to be uncovered by those brave enough to confront it head-on. As the days passed, Adam began an arduous quest for answers. His journey was one fraught with heartache and self-doubt, as every step forward threatened to unearth more painful truths. Despite Chelsea's unwavering support and her detailed analysis that insisted on his paternity, Adam could not ignore the nagging voice in his head, the voice that whispered that there might be more to the story than met the eye. Meanwhile, Chloe continued to play her dangerous game. She appeared at every opportunity, always one step ahead in the unfolding drama, her presence a constant reminder of the secret that threatened to unravel everything. Her calculated actions raised suspicions among family members and friends alike. Was she merely a troubled soul seeking the liberation of truth, or was she a merciless saboteur intent on fracturing the very bonds of love and loyalty? At a clandestine meeting in the dead of night, Adam gathered his closest confidants, including Nate and Chelsea, to confront the mounting evidence. I need the truth, he declared, his voice resolute despite the storm raging inside him. I must know if there is any substance behind Chloe's accusations. Every piece of information I have is clouded by doubt, and I cannot continue living in this limbo of uncertainty. As the group pored over old records, family photographs, and cryptic clues, an unsettling picture began to emerge. There were inconsistencies in the timeline, gaps in the history of their family that no one had dared to question before. Every discovery seemed to point toward a truth too painful to accept, a truth that challenged the very nature of their familial bonds. Yet, amidst the mounting evidence, one question remained: what was Chloe's true purpose? Had she genuinely sought to liberate Adam from a painful deception, or was her interference merely a manifestation of her inherent need to sabotage happiness out of envy? The answer was as elusive as it was complex, hidden within the intricate dance of loyalty, betrayal, and unbridled emotion. In the days that followed, tensions reached a fever pitch. Adam, driven by a mix of desperation and resolve, confronted Chloe once more. This time, it was not merely for answers, but for a declaration of her intent. Chloe, he implored, his tone soft yet unyielding, I know you harbor resentment. I know you're envious of the lives we've built. But why now? Why reveal this secret at a moment when everything is already falling apart? Chloe's eyes glinted with a mix of bitterness and a weary sort of clarity. Adam, I revealed the secret because I believe that the truth has the power to set us free, even if it means tearing down the lies we've all been living under. I've seen too many lives ruined by falsehoods and secrets kept in the shadows. My intentions are not to hurt Connor or you, but to force you both to confront the reality that you've been avoiding. If you truly love your family, you'll be brave enough to face what lies beneath the surface. Her words, though delivered with the fervor of someone convinced of her own righteousness, left Adam with more questions than answers. How could one reconcile the duality of Chloe's nature, the caring confidant who once offered support, and the ruthless provocateur who now seemed determined to dismantle everything he held dear? And if there was indeed a truth behind her revelation, what cost would be required to unearth it? The ensuing days were filled with tense confrontations, whispered alliances, and a relentless quest for clarity. Each family member found themselves forced to reconsider old loyalties and reevaluate past decisions. The home that once promised comfort and unity now echoed with the sounds of distrust and heartbreak. In the midst of this emotional chaos, Adam pressed on, determined to uncover the full extent of the truth about Connor's origins. At last, deep in the archives of family records and long-forgotten documents, Adam discovered a series of clues that pointed toward an elaborate deception, a hidden chapter in the family history that even Chelsea's meticulous analysis had overlooked. As the pieces slowly fell into place, Adam realized that the story of his family was far more complicated than anyone had imagined. There were secrets buried not out of malice, but to protect someone from a past too painful to endure. Yet, the revelation also confirmed one undeniable fact: Chloe had known more than she had ever let on, and her intervention was not entirely accidental. Her actions, driven by envy and a twisted sense of justice, had been aimed at forcing the family to confront a long-hidden truth. Whether that truth would ultimately bring healing or lead to further devastation remained uncertain. In the final, tense moments of their confrontation, Adam turned once more to Chloe, his eyes a mixture of hurt and determination. "Now that I know there is more to this than I ever imagined," he said softly, "tell me everything. Why did you decide it was time to expose this secret? And what exactly do you know about Connor's true origins?" Chloe's response was measured, yet laced with the unmistakable edge of someone who had long carried the burden of forbidden knowledge. "Adam," she began, her voice trembling with a complex blend of regret and resolve, "I've known about the discrepancies in our family's history for years. I discovered that Connor's birth was shrouded in a secret that someone thought best left unspoken, a secret that, if revealed, could shatter lives. But I could not stand by and watch you all live in a lie any longer. I was driven by the belief that truth, however painful, was the only path to genuine freedom. Yes, I envy the happiness you all seem to have, and I was consumed by the desire to force you to confront a past that has long haunted us all." Her confession, as raw and unsettling as it was, did little to ease the storm raging within Adam. Yet, as the dust began to settle, one truth emerged with undeniable clarity: Chloe's actions had forever altered the fabric of their family. In her bid to unearth the truth, she had not only exposed a long-buried secret but had also laid bare the vulnerabilities and deep-seated resentments that had long festered among them. As the family grappled with this new reality, the question that loomed large was whether the revelation would ultimately bring them closer to healing or drive them further apart. For Adam, the journey ahead was uncertain, paved with both the promise of redemption and the threat of irrevocable loss. And as the echoes of Chloe's revelations continued to reverberate through the halls of their once peaceful home, one thing remained clear: in the battle between truth and deception, the scars of betrayal run deep, and the price of uncovering the past can be unbearably high. A boy caught in the storm. The walls of the Grand Newman estate had always been thick with secrets, but none had ever hit young Connor harder than the one he had just uncovered. For 12 years, he had grown up believing in the life that had been woven around him, a life where he belonged, where he was loved, where he was a part of something greater than himself. But now, with hushed voices and angered whispers leaking through the cracks in the door, he realized that everything had been built upon a lie. Sitting alone in his dimly lit bedroom, Connor could still hear the echoes of the argument that had erupted downstairs. The words played over and over in his head like a broken record, each repetition sinking deeper into his fragile mind. Connor is not Adam's son. At first, he had refused to believe it. But then came the questions. The doubt. The horror of it all. If I'm not Adam's son, then who am I? The thought made his stomach twist painfully. He pulled his knees to his chest, his small hands gripping at his own arms as though trying to hold himself together. The weight of the revelation was too much for his young mind to bear, and with it came a suffocating fear. What would happen now? What if Victor, Nick, Victoria, what if they all turned away from him? For as long as he could remember, the Newmans had been a complicated family, full of love and betrayal in equal measure. But at the end of the day, they were family. And now, if he wasn't one of them, if his blood wasn't the same, would they still care about him? Or would they look at him with disgust, as if he were some intruder who had stolen a place that was never meant to be his? The very thought made his chest tighten. A deep, knowing shame slithered its way into his heart. Am I a mistake? Tears blurred his vision as he clenched his fists, trying to push the overwhelming emotions away. He felt dirty. Wrong. As if somehow, simply existing was a crime he had unknowingly committed. His entire sense of identity had been shaken. And worst of all, what about Dad? What would Adam do now? Would he leave? Would he push him away, just like the rest of the Newmans would? Would he look at him differently now that he knew the truth? The footsteps outside his door made his breath hitch. There was a soft knock before it creaked open. Connor? His father's voice was low, gentle, so unlike the usual confidence and sharpness Adam Newman carried. For the first time, Adam sounded uncertain. Almost vulnerable. Connor didn't move. He kept his gaze locked on the floor, unable to face his father. He didn't want to see the disappointment, the regret, the confirmation that everything he feared was real. But then, before he could process what was happening, Adam had crossed the room in just a few steps and pulled him into a tight embrace. It wasn't a hesitant hug. It wasn't forced. It was strong, unwavering, full of the kind of love that couldn't be erased by a simple DNA test. Connor gasped as his father held him close, feeling the warmth of Adam's body, the steady beat of his heart. And then he broke. A sob tore its way from his throat as he clutched onto his father, burying his face into Adam's chest. The pain, the fear, the shame, everything came pouring out in that moment. I don't want to lose you, Connor choked out, his fingers digging into the fabric of Adam's shirt. I don't want you to hate me. Adam's grip only tightened. Connor, look at me. Slowly, the boy pulled back, his tear-streaked face finally meeting his father's gaze. There was no disgust. No anger. No regret. Only love. Adam cupped his son's face, his expression raw with emotion. You listen to me, okay? You are my son. No test, no secret, no one in this world can ever change that. You hear me? Connor swallowed hard, his lip trembling. But I'm not your real son. Adam shook his head firmly. Who says you're not real? Who decides what makes a father and a son? Blood? He let out a breath, shaking his head. No, son. It's love. It's being there. It's knowing you from the moment you were born, watching you grow, teaching you, protecting you. That's what makes a father. He placed a hand over Connor's chest, right over his heart. You are mine. You will always be mine. And I don't give a damn what anyone else says. Connor stared at him, searching for any sign of hesitation, any indication that his father didn't truly mean it. But there was none. Adam's words weren't just reassurances. They were the truth. His truth. A new wave of emotion crashed over Connor, but this time, it wasn't fear. It wasn't shame. It was relief. A broken sob escaped him as he threw his arms around Adam's neck again, clinging to him like a lifeline. And for the first time since hearing the awful truth, he felt safe. No matter what happened. No matter what anyone said. Adam would be there. Because fathers weren't defined by DNA. They were defined by love.